Welcome to the Church of the Week program on AM 630, The Word. Each week, we highlight a different local church or ministry impacting our community. Now let's welcome our Church of the Week host, Chad Shapiro, and today's guest.
Hey everybody, this is Chad Shapiro, host of Church of the Week and in often cases Ministry of the Week. And today we have even School of the Week that we're celebrating. It's on AM 630, The Word. Grateful for them. Also at KSLR.com. You can learn more about it. We have an incredible sponsor, LetUsUnite.com. LetUsUniteSATX.com. Make sure I got that right. Let Us Unite Unite SATX. I am messing it up. Sponsor, but it might make you want to go check even more because I'm messing it all up. Let us unite. UniteSATX.com. Not Let Us Unite. UniteSATX.com. Anyway,
you got it.
To our fun. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm blessed to work with Texas Baptist. I do remember that one. And also get to help with Pastor Strong, which is an incredible opportunity. And my brother here is often with us at Pastor Strong and supporting all the pastors. I have Joe Rangel. Am I saying it right? You say it faster than me. Rangel.
Yeah.
He's from Truett, and he leads the entire San Antonio campus here of Truett that is growing thanks to your help and Keith Bruce and everybody beforehand that led us here. Tell us about your background before we get into Truett, which I can't wait to learn about because I know some of our top leaders are registered and excited and have been learning so much from you. But before Truett, what were you up to? What have you been doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So before Truett, I was with Wayland Baptist University. I was the associate dean of Christian studies there in our department. And I was in Plainview on the main campus for about 4 years. And then we were, kind of relocated to San Antonio because there's also that campus here. And so that's what I was doing before. I've been in Christian higher ed for about 19 years now. And so it's been a great journey. Yeah.
Well, you're doing a great job. And so tell us a little bit about Truett for those people that have no idea what it is. What would you?
Sure. Yeah. So it's a seminary that is embedded in Baylor University, which is an R1 university, which is, just a high caliber, university that has this seminary as well. And so now Truett has 2 extension campuses, one in Houston and one in San Antonio. And so Truett has 3 graduate degrees. And so a Master's of Divinity, we have a Master's of Christian Ministry, and then a Master's of Theological Studies. And so we're geared for that student who is, either in ministry already and just can commit maybe a night or two. So more of a commuter experience. And so we have classes in the evening, in the fall and in the spring.
That's terrific. And it's newer. So how long has it been in San Antonio?
Yeah, that's great. So we've been in San Antonio now. We're starting our 5th year. So I had to do the math real quick. Yeah. So we're starting our 5th year. So we just finished our 4th year, and we're starting our 5th year this August.
And numbers are increasing.
So we're now at 30. And so we can describe it like in our orbit where we have our graduate students, which are in those 3 degree plans that I talked about. And then we also have 2 doctorate of ministry cohorts now in San Antonio. We're starting our 2nd one this summer. And so that brings our numbers within, everyone that's studying at San Antonio to about 30.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so we got this cool, you're not watching it if you're on the radio, but on Facebook, we've got your guidebook here.
Yeah. So we have our catalog, and
you talk about some of that stuff in there? Because I was excited. I was looking at it, and could you go through some of the keys about the vision, mission?
Yeah. So just our mission, and that's basically what I like to start with. It's Baylor University's George W. Truett Theological Seminary exists to equip God-called people for gospel ministry in and alongside Christ Church by the power of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
And so that's just basically what we feel, we're called to do. Waco, Houston, and San Antonio.
Yeah. Well, you guys are doing it. Like I said, some of my great friends in San Antonio are part of it, and I'm so excited about that. What are some of the challenges that people have these days? Um, like why with the opportunity and the challenges for them to want to go to seminary? Like where does that? You mentioned maybe the commuter thing. So is it tough on the schedule? Sometimes that for some.
I think that's a little bit of it. I mean, you're balancing possibly ministry or a job, a family, and then study.
Yeah.
And so that can be a challenge in and of itself. Another challenge that I hear among our students are, financial. How am I going to pay for it?
Yeah.
And so thankfully, and God has blessed us with Truett with, just endowed scholars
Wow.
where, just faithful church members and people have come alongside our seminary to support a student who is working full time and wants to get trained for ministry. And so God has basically put that in that desire in their heart to want to kind of help students like that.
So somebody listening, that could be an opportunity for them.
Yeah, if they wanted to continue to kind of support Truett, support
the students.
Yeah.
Also for a student that might be listening,
Sure.
like there could be an endowment.
Yeah,
or
there's
something
scholarships. That could probably meet that need financially. Yeah.
That's such a blessing.
Yeah.
What are some of the main things that they would learn?
So at Truett, we could learn. It depends on your degree plan,
Mhm.
obviously, but like a Master's of Divinity student, that's geared more towards pastoral ministry. So we rely heavily on theology. The Hebrew and Greek will be
Mhm.
classes that they would take, and then we get into some practical classes as well. So
Mhm.
it's not just theology and languages. There's some practicality to it. The Christian ministry is a little bit more practically based, that degree plan, and it's geared towards maybe students who want to go into like youth ministry or children ministry, things like that. And so a little bit more hands-on. There's still theology. There's still biblical studies, but we lean heavily in that degree plan on like practical courses as well. So
I'm excited to learn more about it. Before, it's just in case somebody's just jumping in real quick, where would they go to grab the information?
Yeah, so Baylor.edu/Truett. That would be where you could find us. Yeah,
and
Truett
then
Seminary, or just Google Truett Seminary and it'll pop up as well.
And then they'll get you information about the San Antonio.
So that'll send them to the page where there's information on the main campus, the Waco campus, and then there's also pages that are just for Houston and for San Antonio. Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you're starting to see in our city and beyond? I know you're involved a lot from a school perspective, and it feels like things are growing forward. And things of
that's great. That's a great question, Chad, because this is what I'm seeing actually is, so I guess we all experienced the pandemic, what COVID did for us in terms of kind of secluding us on a Zoom camera to do a lot of learning and meetings and things like that, work overall. And now there's this kind of resurgence to want to be face to face in a room, just like kind of we're doing right now, and to bring that to study as well, to study ministry. I mean, it's online is great. I don't grade any kind of online experiences when you're studying ministry. I understand that. I taught online for many years, but there's something unique about coming back together in a classroom with your peers to talk about ministry, to learn about ministry together. And it just seems like that's just kind of what students are kind of gravitating to. And that's what Truett Seminary prides itself in, that we do a lot of in-person learning. We do a lot of online, but mainly we're heavily kind of sided on the in-person learning.
And I know the cohorts really help connect the students to each other. Can you talk more about that? Because I've seen some of the bonds from some of these pastors.
Yeah. So I guess because of, many of our students are in like situations in terms of working and family and ministry, that brings kind of a bond that everyone kind of shares together in that and brings like a connection. And so our classes are at night, like I mentioned, and so it's like 9 o'clock and we're finishing up and no one's leaving, and I'm like,
wow,
because they're now fellowshipping, and I'm like, all right guys, I gotta go, but y'all can stay, just make sure the last person turns off the lights, and so, and that like warms my heart, because normally students would have been ready to just fly out of there, class is over, I got to get home, but that's not the case. They stay in fellowship and chit chat, and it's a good spirit there, good fellowship. Yeah.
That's so great. So now in Waco, they've been doing it for a lot longer. So
Yeah.
how, for those that have never, like me, never seen an extension campus and how it starts from the beginning, I imagine you have an incredible model, already great school that's growing, and then, hey, let's branch this out.
Sure.
What does it look like in Waco? Like, how long have they been at it?
Yeah.
What's been going on there?
So Truett Seminary just celebrated their 30th anniversary. So been on the main campus in Waco for 30 years now.
Yeah, wow.
And so you can just imagine just the amount of, alumni, students that have been impacted, churches that have been impacted, even countries that have been impacted from our student body and our alumni. And so 30 years kind of lays a great foundation to then expand to these other cities. And so just excited about the help and support that comes from Waco, to keep us kind of undergirded and doing what we need to do in San Antonio.
So when you start a campus, you're trying to recruit as many students as you can and help bring classes there, but they're attached a lot when it's really small, right? There's no classes, they're attached a little bit more to Waco.
Yeah.
And then as you get more growth in that campus, then you can do more in person in that city.
Yes.
And that's what's already happening in San Antonio.
Yeah, that's right. That's a great point, that we are connected to our main campus via online or simultaneous classes that take place. And so our students are able to access both, the main campus via online learning and, our in-person learning at the extension campus. Yeah.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure to get this sponsor right. We are on Church of the Week, thanks to KSLR.com and AM 630 The Word. I'm here with Joe Rangel from Truett, which is here in San Antonio. It is an extension of Truett Baylor in Waco, and there's a great campus that is growing here. We also are sponsored by UniteSATX.com. UniteSATX.com. Before, I was getting distracted with a great event that they actually hosted. There was a revival. It was so awesome, called Let Us Unite, which is down here in the park, celebrating a 100-year revival on Memorial Day weekend that just passed. But thank you guys for them. And we're talking about school and Truett. So I imagine this is a graduate studies for the most part. So these are people looking at doing this as a career. It's not necessarily a Bible study that they're doing on their own. What are some of the most the best pathways you see? What's the careers that come out of it? Are they, because some of the best pastors I know have come out of Truett. So like you obviously have a pathway for that. I mean, you guys got some incredible men of God. But what do you find is kind of the most?
Yeah, and I think it starts with our faculty. I mean, we have a world-class faculty, at the main campus and in our extension campus. And I think that's where, personally, of course, I'm biased because I'm a professor as well, but I think that's where it starts. A world-class professor who has the experience in the church and the experience in, academics, and can bring those two together, I think really set the stage for a quality education. It's rigorous, but our students find a way to get things done and to learn and to grow and to stretch in that way. And so I think it's been a great experience for me now, being a year and a half with Truett, to see even growth within my students already, just in their writing and in their comments in class, and all that is just purposeful, and it blesses the church, because
so,
of it.
and majority of them are doing it. They're not full-time.
Some are,
are.
Some are full-time. Some are still, kind of volunteering or trying to find the place that God's wanting them to be in,
Okay.
Many of them already have experience in ministry in some sort, like I said, volunteer basis. And so they do have that. One of our students in particular is working, which I've never kind of had a student do this before, but is working with a nursing home and feels called to a nursing home ministry, and does church services every other Sunday. And so that's where he feels called to kind of minister to. And
terrific.
So
I had a pastor here tell me, he said everybody talks about the next gen, which is important, right? Definitely. But there are so many people that are in that senior season of their life that also need to be ministered to,
Right.
and who's going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And so it's great to hear about that. This is so terrific. What are some of the ways that you find students? Like obviously they could go to the website, but you're in charge of, I think people know, like, okay, if I'm going to build a church or a ministry, I need to go, to, my neighbors, or I need to canvas, downtown, or I need to go have an event. I mean, like, what do you do when you're in your role with it needing to add students to this?
Right. Yeah. And that's where it's a little challenging as well, because it's a little bit of what you describe, just kind of one-on-one finding pastors or leaders who might know someone. And so I have to go through these, not have to, but I enjoy going through these gatekeepers of sorts. And then they lead me to someone else. So that's part of it. It's a little time consuming, but we finally met students through that. The other way is just showing up at, Pastor Strong events and luncheons and associational meetings, conventions. We're going to be at Convención here in a couple of weeks. And so just kind of getting our name out there like that. Now, many already know Truett, but many don't know that Truett's in San Antonio.
Right.
So that's where we're having to.
And we're glad to be able to feature you on this so that everybody can know. But seriously, having you at Pastor Strong Lunch, it just makes it easier for the guys. So many people have a heart for God. It's terrific. And we want to minister, but we need to do our best to continue to study and to grow and to be before just doing. And it's not always easy, because I think guys that are called to ministry want to get their hands dirty and get after it right away. But it's important to understand that incredible people like you and the professors have worked hard. They've gotten through challenges that can help everybody, grow further than that. Is it the theology of it versus the practicality of it? What is there some practical, teaching as well? What percentage you think? Great. How does that?
I would say like it's probably about maybe 60-40, where you have to get the theology, you have to get the the biblical studies down, and then once you understand how to rightly divide the word of truth, in my opinion, how the word describes it, then you can practically flesh that out. So how do you flesh that out practically? And so that's where I think, where I'm in practical theology, where I would say, okay, so now that you know how to give a Bible study, so to speak, or to preach, what are some creative ways that now you can do that to youth? So are you going to do like small group dynamics? Are you going to do like focus groups? Are you going to want to do a game or what I would say experiential learning, where you give kind of like a problem and they have to solve it together with hands-on and kind of, and then you bridge that with the teaching in the scripture. And so kind of what Jesus would do about practical things. Look at the birds of the air, let them actually see things and then bring a spiritual meaning to that. And so that's where you can bridge both like that theological learning with that practical delivery.
Yeah, I love it. And then in terms of so that's in terms of teaching the word. What about in terms of ministry basics? I mean, they're going to learn a lot of that being in their churches themselves. But do you guys, is that part of it? Like, how do I go build a youth ministry or? Because it's different than theology, right? Theology is teaching the word,
right.
But then there's the practical, like now I got to go out and actually live it, or a budget or anything like that. Are the pastors?
So yes, administration. We'll do classes on that. There's classes on pastoral care.
And
so how do you bring pastoral care to certain individuals and in certain seasons that these individuals are? We just did a class, I just did a class on family ministry. So we brought back that idea of ministering to the whole family, and then the parents actually being the lead disciplers of their family. And not necessarily leaving it to ministers to be the disciplers of their family, but actually kind of undergird the parents to really take on that discipleship, lead on that. And how do we do that? And so we had some great discussions on family ministry.
Do you see a particular demographic that you see most common? And is it the same in San Antonio as it is in Waco for your students?
No, it's a little different. Mainly on the main campus, or a little bit more what we would say like a traditional student, so a younger student who's going to devote most of the time. And when I say time, I mean like classes during the day in the morning.
So
and
maybe
like
because there's Baylor, right?
Uh-huh.
This gigantic university.
Right.
And so then the people are they graduating with their undergrad and then they're signing up to
Some are
Truett,
doing that. Some are
or at the same
graduating
time?
from their undergrad somewhere else and then coming to Truett. So it's
Okay.
more of a residency program where you're a full-time student and
Yeah,
you're doing your classes full-time.
Yeah.
And not to say that they're not ministering either, but our student tends to be a little bit more non-traditional in the fact that they're a little older.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
Is that true for all extension from your
I
experience?
would think so. Yeah. My experience is most extension campuses tend to minister or to help a non-traditional student. Now recently we've gotten some students like from BUA who fit more of that traditional student that are coming now. And so that has energized our kind of no offense, but our older older group of students. And there's that connection, like I said, in terms of mentorship and building one, kind of older with younger and getting them together. And
so BUA and other schools here in San Antonio become a natural pipeline, right? Because they don't offer what you offer. How does that work between the two?
Yeah, so we just want to be there and partner with how we can in terms of offering our degrees with them, and many of their students are actively ministering here in San Antonio. So that what helps is that they don't have to go anywhere. They can stay in San Antonio. So and go to Truett now. And so that's a good partnership.
So course load, like you said, some of them are full time, maybe because they haven't found a place to volunteer. But is the course load? Is it optional? Like somebody could go take more courses, so they need to be full time, or man, this guy's a pastor already. He's a hard work. Maybe he has a job too, and now he wants to be in seminary. He's taking one course instead of 2 or 3.
And we have all types. We have students who are really committed in getting getting it done, and they'll do 9 hours, which are 3 classes. We have other students who don't necessarily need to do it as quickly, and they know that they're in for the long term or long haul, and so they'll take 2 classes, 1 class here and there.
Gosh, I love the flexibility of it. Before we wrap up, I thank you so much for being here. What is some vision for San Antonio, the Truett campus? What are some vision things on the horizon that we can look forward to?
Yeah, we want to build ecumenically. We also have a Wesley Studies. And so even to bridge into our global Methodist brothers and sisters, and even into that larger area of our, Presbyterians and all those. And so that's the vision it's not just a Baptist, seminary, and we can kind of bridge out in that way and have that vision to expand. So
So anybody that's listening, I know for me working at Texas Baptist, I've seen so many incredible leaders come out of Baylor and at Truett, and so I'm very grateful for you. But anybody else that is looking at all, just a reminder one more time, the website's address is
baylor.edu/Truett.
baylor.edu/Truett. And they will eventually get you some information about what's happening right here in San Antonio, Texas. Now, the capacity is what happens as you go from 30 to 40 to 50 to 60, 70. Is that the goal? I mean, everybody's happy with 30. You're like, what?
No. We want to keep going.
Okay.
I think critical mass would be somewhere around 50, and the vision would be then to move towards more day classes as well. Once we hit that 50 mark, maybe 60 mark, we'd have an option for students, hopefully by then, so that they could come, let's say on a Tuesday, and just devote time on a Tuesday, do a morning class, afternoon class, and an evening class. And that's the goal.
Because some of our students might not be just from San Antonio.
Right. Yeah.
So they're coming in for nighttime class.
Right.
Okay. Wow. I love it. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here with Church of the Week. In this case, we have School of the Week, and we're grateful for AM 630 The Word, KSLR.com, and our sponsor, who you're about to learn more about, I believe, right now, UniteSATX.com. UniteSATX.com. Take care and God bless you.
Thanks for joining us this week for Church of the Week. Please visit us online at am630theword.com for more information or to listen to previous Church of the Week programs. If you would like to recommend your church be featured on a future program, please email us at churchoftheweek@kslr.com.
Are you longing to see unity in San Antonio? Join us as we pray for a spiritual awakening in our city. Nearly a century ago, thousands gathered at San Pedro Springs Park for a powerful revival that changed lives and brought our community together. Today, Let Us Unite invites you to be part of this legacy. Pray with us for unity, healing, and hope for San Antonio. Visit letasunite.com to learn more, get involved, and add your voice to the movement. That's letasunite.com. Together, let's believe for another move of God in our city.